Do rebounds work? Experts reveal the truth. You just got out of a relationship, or maybe the person you love did. And now you're asking the question that keeps circling in your mind. Do rebounds actually work? Is this helping me heal? Or am I just hiding from the pain? Can something real come out of something that started so fast? If you're wondering that, you're not alone. Some people say rebounds are a disaster, a way to avoid grief, a path to repeat old mistakes. Others say they can help you feel better, move forward, even fall in love again. So what's the truth? What do the experts actually say? Are rebounds just emotional band-aids, or can they evolve into something real? In this video, we're digging into the psychology, the research, and the real-world stories. You'll learn why rebounds feel so intense, what makes them crash or last, and how to tell if you're ready for one or stuck in a cycle. We're not here to judge, we're here to understand. Let's break it down. Why do people rebound? Breakups are brutal. They rip away your routine, your emotional anchor, and often, your sense of identity. And, in that aftermath, many people rush into something new. Not always because they've moved on, but because they're trying to feel like themselves again. Psychologists say rebound relationships are most commonly driven by emotional needs like avoiding grief. If I'm with someone new, maybe I won't have to feel the loss. Filling the void of loneliness, I just want to feel close to someone again. Seeking validation, was I even lovable to begin with? I need someone to prove I still am. Trying to control the narrative, they broke up with me? I'll show them I'm already better off. And here's what's key. This isn't just immaturity, this is psychological self-protection. It's a survival instinct, especially for people with attachment styles that fuel rebounds. Anxious types often seek immediate connection to ease fear of abandonment. Avoidant types dive into new relationships to avoid emotional reflection. Disorganized types may bounce between clinginess and detachment in rapid succession. One expert in your research put it this way: the rebound isn't about the new person. It's about escaping the last emotional version of yourself. It's not about love, it's about relief. And that's where the danger, and sometimes the opportunity, begins. Do rebounds help you heal? Here's something surprising. Not all rebounds are destructive. In fact, some studies show that people who enter a rebound relationship soon after a breakup report higher self-esteem, more confidence, and even faster emotional recovery, at least temporarily. One study from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that people in new relationships shortly after a breakup experienced greater sense of romantic desirability, reduced attachment anxiety toward their ex, and a feeling of being chosen again, which can emotionally stabilize them. So yes, rebounds can help. But here's the catch. The healing is often surface level. It soothes the sting. It replaces the silence. It makes you feel wanted again. And that can be powerful. But if you haven't done the inner work, processed grief, reflected on the relationship, confronted your patterns, the relief is temporary. Think of it like this. It's like using painkillers instead of treating the wound. You feel better, but you're not actually healing. Eventually the numbness fades, and what's underneath resurfaces. And here's the danger. If the new relationship becomes your entire identity too soon, you risk collapsing when it can't carry the weight of your unhealed past. So, do rebounds help you heal? Sometimes yes, if the connection is mutual, honest, and not used to escape. Otherwise, you're just repackaging your pain with someone new. What's the catch? The emotional risks of rebounds. So yes, rebounds can give you an emotional high, but that high doesn't come without a cost. Because if you enter a new relationship before facing the pain of the last one, you don't heal, you transfer. And the weight of your unprocessed grief, it doesn't just disappear, it leaks into your new connection. Here are the most common emotional consequences of jumping into a rebound too soon. Unfinished emotional business. You may be laughing on dates, but still dreaming about your ex, still comparing, still waiting for closure that never came. That makes the new person feel like a placeholder, not a partner, repeating the same patterns. If you haven't reflected on why the last relationship ended, you're likely to repeat the same attachment triggers, emotional reactions, communication breakdowns, fears of abandonment or rejection. Lack of emotional availability. You're physically present, but emotionally distant. You say the right things, but deep down, you know you're still tangled in the past. This creates confusion for both you and the new person. Delayed grief crash. At some point, maybe months later, the newness fades, and the grief you thought you escaped comes back harder. Why? Because you never processed it. You just paused it. Bottom line, rebounds can feel good, but they rarely fix what's broken. They often prolong pain by hiding it behind new affection. And in many cases, two people end up hurt you and the person who thought you were ready. Do rebound relationships ever last? So after all this, you might be wondering, okay, but do rebounds ever actually work? Can they turn into something real? Or are they always doomed? Here's the honest answer. Most rebound relationships don't last, but some absolutely do. What the research says. Studies show that a large percentage of rebounds end within 3 to 6 months. Why? Because they're usually built on emotional urgency, unprocessed grief, idealized connection, and a desperate need to feel okay again. But here's the nuance. Not every rebound is toxic, not every rebound is fake, and not every rebound is doomed. Some people genuinely connect. Some rebound relationships evolve past their origins. Some couples grow together, not just fall together. So, what's the difference? Here's what usually separates the rebounds that survive from the ones that crash. Successful rebounds usually involve emotional honesty. One or both partners acknowledge that the timing isn't perfect, and they work through it together. Self-awareness. The rebounder has done enough inner work to recognize what they're carrying, and they don't expect the new partner to fix them. Mutual emotional availability. Both people are present, curious, and aligned on what they want. Growth mindset. They use the relationship as a space to evolve, not escape. So yes, rebound relationships can last, but only when both people are willing to slow down, be honest, and build from healing, not just hurt. When a rebound becomes real love, not every rebound is a mistake. Some begin in chaos, but slowly, steadily, they transform. The pain that brought you together, it becomes part of the story, not the whole story. But this shift doesn't happen by accident. So when does a rebound turn real? It happens when two things are true. One, the person is aware that they're in a vulnerable state and they're honest about it, with themselves and their partner. Two, the new relationship isn't used to hide the pain, but to process it, openly, mutually, and with respect. Here are a few green flags that a rebound might become something lasting. 1. Emotional transparency. I'm still healing, but I want to be honest with you about where I'm at. That kind of openness builds trust, not confusion. 2. No rush to define. They don't fast-track commitment to avoid loneliness. They take their time. They let the bond evolve naturally. 3. Mutual support and growth. They're not using each other. They're supporting each other. As individuals and as a team. They don't ignore the past. They talk about it when it's relevant. And they don't expect each other to be perfect, just present. 4. Internal stability. They're not dating to feel whole. They're already doing the healing work. And the relationship becomes a bonus, not a crutch. If these are present, then yes, a relationship that started as a rebound can absolutely grow into something deep, respectful, and real. It just requires awareness, communication, and emotional maturity from both sides. What experts say, it's not about timing, it's about intention. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Rebounds don't fail because they're fast, they fail because they're unconscious. Relationship therapists and psychologists agree, it's not the timing that breaks a rebound, it's the reason behind it. People who jump into something new purely to avoid being alone, numb the pain, or win the breakup, usually hit a wall. But people who enter a new relationship with awareness, even if it's soon after a breakup, can still build something honest and lasting. In your research, one expert put it perfectly. Healing isn't linear, and sometimes the right relationship shows up before we feel ready. What matters is how we show up inside it. Here's what most successful post-breakup relationships have in common. Emotional honesty, acknowledgement of the past, a willingness to go slow, and clear motives beyond just feeling better. So instead of asking, is this too soon? The real question is, am I showing up with clarity, or just looking for a distraction from my pain? Because love built on honesty and growth, even if it starts fast, has far more staying power than love built on fear and avoidance. Should you rebound a decision-making framework? You've heard the science, you've seen both sides, and now you're asking yourself, so, should I rebound? Am I doing this to heal, or to avoid healing? Here's the truth. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but there is a right question. Why am I doing this? Really? If you're considering a rebound, ask yourself, 1. Am I looking for connection or distraction? Be brutally honest. If you just don't want to feel lonely, wait. If you're excited to build something slowly and intentionally, you may be ready. 2. Can I be emotionally honest with this new person? Rebounds become painful when people hide their true emotional state. Can you tell them you're still healing? Can you be transparent about where you're really at? If yes, that's maturity. 3. Am I whole enough to handle it if it doesn't last? If this new relationship ends, will it devastate you? Or are you grounded enough to see it as a step in your growth? If you can walk away and still hold your identity, you're not rebounding, you're evolving. 4. Would I want this person if I weren't hurting right now? This is the most revealing question. If the answer is no, you already know the truth. Key takeaway: you don't have to avoid relationships after heartbreak, but you do have to take responsibility for why you're choosing them. If it's about connection, honesty, and growth, you're good. If it's about escape, ego, or fear, take a breath, heal first. Final message. So, do rebounds work? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But here's what really matters. It's not about how fast you move on. It's about how consciously you move forward. A rebound can feel like relief. It can give you comfort, distraction, even hope. But it can't replace the inner work. It can't fix what you refuse to feel. And it definitely can't make you whole, if you're entering it from a place of emptiness. Here's the good news: you're not broken, you're not behind. You're not failing because you're still healing. The fact that you're watching this, that you're asking questions, seeking clarity, wanting truth, means you're already ahead of the pattern most people repeat for years. So whether you're in a rebound, watching your ex in one, or considering one, make the decision that brings you peace, not just comfort. Drop a comment below. Healing before history repeats. Let's build a space where we stop rushing and start rising. Subscribe and like for more grounded, growth-based content around love, breakup recovery, emotional intelligence, and self-worth. Because moving on is one thing. Moving forward with clarity, that's everything.